Okay, so now when the monster kills us, you're stuck in this position and nothing is displaying. So we need to display the dev screen right now. So let's go to our main UI, and here we will create our dev screen and our end screen. We can close this, we don't need that. So let's search for size box because we will need one. So let's grab it, put it right here. And now we will also search for text because we need to put the text inside this size box. So here we will display that we're dead. So let's rename this to dev screen. Okay, now let's set this to be a variable. And now as for the anchor, we will anchor this to the top like this. And now as for the offset left, it will be 0 and the position will be 150. Offset will be 0, and here as for the size Y, it'll be 200. Okay, so now we can actually take a look at this text. So first of all, let's change this text to "you died," and now let's center it right here. So now this text is obviously a wrong font, so we can go to our font right here and change this to our normal, or actually to the bold one. And now we can change the size to 150, as well as the color. It'll be red, but maybe let's go with something a little bit darker. Okay, I like this. So let's compile, save, and now we need to add buttons. So we will use a vertical box. So let's grab one and let's put it in the center. So as for the anchors, it'll be centered in the middle like this. Now as for the offsets, it'll be 0, of course. When it comes to position, it will be around -100, and as for the size, it will be sized to content. So now let's compile and let's actually rename this to dev end screen buttons. Okay, let's set it to be a variable. And now we will actually add some buttons, or actually let's first add a size box and let's put it inside this box. So now let's set it to be centered. And now we just need to override the width and the height. So the width will be 350, and as for the height, it will be around 150. Okay, so now we will actually compile first, and then we can grab a button and put this button inside this size box. So now all we need to do is first of all make sure that this is transparent, so we can change the opacity to 0 when it's normal, when it's hovered, and also when it is clicked, so this background is not visible. Okay, and now we need to add a text. So let's grab some text and put it inside this button. And also this text is not looking that good, so let's change the font. And also we need to change the scale, but first let's change the actual text. It'll be, the first button will be restart, and now for the scale it will be 100. So now let's actually click on the button, and now let's set it to be a variable, and this will be our restart button. Okay, and let's do the same thing with the text. Let's set it to be a variable, and this will be our restart text. Okay, let's compile, save. And now all we need to do is just duplicate this size box. So we will copy this button with the text. And first of all, let's rename these. So this will be our quit button, and this will be quit text. Okay, so as for the actual text right here, it will say quit. Now, obviously, we need a spacer because these buttons are a little bit too close to each other. So let's add a spacer, and it'll be 100. So now let's actually compile, save, and let's set these buttons and the end screen, the UI screen, set their render opacity to 0. Same thing with the end screen buttons. Let's search for render opacity and set it to 0. So now let's create a beautiful fade animation for this. So we can just click on this and create new animation, which will be named dev screen fade. Okay, and now we will add this dev screen, which is our text, but we will also add these end screen buttons to the same animation as well. And we will modify their render opacity. Same thing with the buttons. So let's search for render opacity. And now we need to go from 0 to a value of 1 during 1 second. So let's do that. Let's move this to 1 second, and now let's change this to 1 and this to 1 as well. So this dev screen will just show up like this. It'll look a little bit nicer than just displaying it in a split of a second. So now we actually need to duplicate this dev screen because we need to rename this to end screen, because if we win the game, we kill the monster, we also want to display the end screen. So we will do the same thing with the text, but let's set the render opacity to 1 for a second so it'll be visible a little bit better. And let's change this to the end. Oh, that's the end. Okay, and we can also change the color to something more like orangey, maybe yellowish, something. Okay, so let's also click here and change the render opacity back to 0 by default, and we'll create a second animation. So let's click on animation, let's create a new one with this end screen right here. So let's create animation. This will be end screen fade. Okay, so here we will add first our end screen, and we will also use these same buttons. So we can just go to animation, add these buttons, and that's why are we doing this? Because we don't need to create these buttons twice. We can use them in two different animations and in two different screens. So now that this is set up here, we can set the render opacity back to 1 after 1 second. Okay, so now we have these two animations. We have the end screen animation, and we also have the uh, dev screen animations, and both of them are using the same buttons, but they are just displaying a different text.